The Bauman story is known primarily because it was recorded and published by Theodore Roosevelt in his 1893 book, The Wilderness Hunter. Roosevelt did not claim to witness the events himself. Instead, he presented them as a first-hand account, told to him years earlier by a frontiersman named Bauman. Roosevelt believed Bauman was sincere and stated that the man told the story with such conviction that I felt he believed it to be true. This is an important distinction. The story is not folklore invented long after. It was a personal testimony conveyed to one of the most historically reliable figures of the era. Historical and cultural setting time. Likely in the 1870s, though published in 1893. Location: the Bitterroot Mountains on the Montana-Idaho border. During this period, the region was remote, heavily forested, and sparsely mapped, home to grizzly bears, wolves, mountain lions, and unsurveyed wilderness, still influenced by Native American traditions of forest spirits and wild men of the mountains. Multiple tribal groups in the area had long-standing oral traditions of large human-like creatures living in remote high valleys, sometimes called the Tsukeli, Shoshone, tall, wild one, stick Indians, common across Salishan-speaking tribes, forest beings known to stalk or harass travelers. These stories formed the cultural atmosphere Bauman operated in. The incident, summary of events, the first signs. Bauman and a companion, both experienced trappers, entered the high passes to set beaver traps for the season. At their first camp, they noticed something large walking upright had approached their camp. Tracks were bipedal, but broader and longer than human footprints. The creature's trail showed no knuckle impressions that would suggest a bear walking upright. They were unsettled, but not yet alarmed. The harassment escalates. At the second camp, the two men returned from checking their traps to find their camp ransacked, packs torn apart, meat stolen or scattered. Something had walked around the campsite repeatedly, as though circling it. They spent that night awake, hearing something moving in the tree line, occasionally letting out a low, rasping, cough-like sound. The final night. At the third camp, they again discovered the camp disturbed, now with large footprints circling closer than before. Fearing they were being stalked, they decided to break camp at dawn. Bauman volunteered to check the traps one last time, while his partner packed. When Bauman returned, he found the fire still smoldering, the packs partly gathered, his partner lying dead beside a fallen log, neck-broken body dragged several feet, as if pulled. No evidence of claw marks or teeth wounds was mentioned, something bears nearly always leave. Bauman reported seeing huge footprints around the corpse. He fled the mountain and never trapped alone in the wilderness again. Roosevelt's interpretation. Roosevelt did not claim the creature was Bigfoot, but he dismissed the idea of a known animal. He emphasized 2 points. Bauman was not a superstitious man. His voice shook when recounting the memory decades later. The behavior described did not match bear behavior. Bears may investigate camps, but they do not stalk, circle repeatedly, or carry bodies short distances without feeding. Roosevelt left the reader to consider that a large, unknown primate might have existed in the North American wilderness. Realistic explanations. Scholars have debated the Bauman story for over a century. The explanations fall into several camps. 1. Large bear, misinterpreted. A grizzly could have raided the camp for food, killed the partner during surprise contact, but grizzlies crush bone and leave claw marks, neither of which are mentioned. 2. Human attack. A mountain man, fugitive, or hermit could have stalked them, attacked the companion. Yet the tracks Bauman described remain difficult to explain under this theory. 3. Frontier. Psychological breakdown. Isolation, exhaustion, and fear can heighten threat perception. However, this does not explain the physical movement of the body or the repeated nighttime stalking. 4. Cultural wild man. Encounter. Bauman's experience aligns closely with Native American stick Indian and mountain giant traditions. Other 19th century reports of hairy hominid-like beings in wilderness areas, early proto-Bigfoot accounts from the Pacific Northwest. This explanation acknowledges that the creature may have been a real, undiscovered primate species, now possibly extinct or scarce. The Bauman story is one of the earliest recorded American Sasquatch-type encounters with a nameable witness, a fixed location, multiple physical behaviors, a death attributed to the creature. It predates the Ape Canyon Incident, 1924, the Jerry Crew Bluff Creek Footprint Discovery, 1958, the coining of the term Bigfoot. For these reasons, it is considered a cornerstone in North American hairy hominid folklore and proto-cryptid research. Conclusion. The Bauman story endures because it sits in the narrow space between folklore eyewitness testimony and physical wilderness reality. Roosevelt believed Bauman completely believed what he said. Whether the creature was a large bear acting unusually, a human killer, a psychological misinterpretation, or a now lost species of wild hominid, the story remains a defining historical moment in the legend of the North American wild man.